Hello, virtuosos around the world. I'm super excited about our guest this April edition of The Lens, Will Guidara, the author of Unreasonable Hospitality, who will tell us how hospitality isn't just about hotels. It's really about that human connection that gives us a competitive advantage. Will also be our keynote speaker at Virtuoso Travel Week. So today will be a nice sampling of some cool things we'll ask him. Anyway, here's Will Guidara.
It's been a minute, man. Nice to see you.
Will, welcome to the Lens. We're so excited to have you, and we're super excited to have you live at Virtuoso Travel Week. I'd love to just kind of rewind a bit and take you back to the moment that kind of first made you realize that hospitality can be more than service and really a calling. Like, when did that happen?
Ultimately, it's somewhat incremental, right? It's like a lot of little things that have happened over the years. One of the experiences that for sure was formative for me, or at the very least is one of the ones I remember. When I was 12, for my birthday, my dad brought me to the restaurant, the Four Seasons. For anyone who's not familiar with that restaurant, it's not there anymore, but for decades, it was the great American restaurant. My dad ran the restaurant right below. It was called Brasserie. I remember I'd always go to work with him and serve or wait tables or whatever. But the Four Seasons was always the restaurant above that just felt mystical and magical to me. And so I asked my dad to bring me there for dinner. And I don't remember much about that meal. I remember that I got my first blazer, the little Brooks Brother blazer with the gold buttons. I remember that was the first time I ever dropped a napkin at a restaurant and someone brought me a new one and called me sir. Really what I remember is that for the few hours we were there, the rest of the world ceased to exist. It was put on pause, and all that remained was me across this table from my dad, who my mom was sick most of my life, and so my dad and I were always very, very close. But he worked a ton, and I just craved time with him, and it was magic.
Wow.
And it was in that moment that I realized restaurants are more than just food, right? Like any industry, it is so much bigger and it is so much more than whatever the thing you are selling is. It's the extent to which you can make that moment of interaction something meaningful in people's experience. That was one of those moments that I still remember to this day as having been formative.
You also speak so beautifully about your why. Did you always have that clear why? I mean, from that moment, or did you build on it?
No, I think it just kind of evolved over time. I just think it's not only an important thing to do for yourself, but when you're leading a team to articulate, like, what is the impact you are making on other human beings? Listen, I don't care how much you like your job. Sometimes work is really hard. Right? And if you don't know that you're genuinely making an impact, I don't think it's possible to bring your most fully realized self to the table on the difficult days. My why is that we show up for people. We're not serving them food. Yes, that's a part of the experience, but we're giving them things to look forward to.
Love that.
We're giving them a space to celebrate. We're giving them grace. We can make the world a nicer place just by being really freaking nice to every single person that walks through our doors and then standing back and watching as they go out into the world and pay it forward. For me, that is my why. My why is to make people feel a sense of belonging, to make them feel seen, to make as many people as possible feel genuinely welcomed.
Your book defines hospitality as a principle that applies to all businesses. How can travel advisors and luxury providers embrace the unreasonable hospitality concepts and philosophies to compete, particularly in such a tech-forward, tech-first world?
It's not about more, it's about being more thoughtful and being as disciplined and creative and intentional as possible to come up with the little ways and the big ways to be more thoughtful in the way that you're engaging the people that you're there to serve, to get to know them a little bit better such that the things you are doing are for them and not to them, that you are walking down the road with them. And when we're all together, we're going to go like much, much deeper into these ideas. But anyone who is successful, regardless of industry, has achieved that success through being pretty unreasonable, really creative, intentional, relentless in pursuit of the product they're selling, the service they're selling, the craft that they've been pursuing. Don't reserve your best efforts only for those things. Invest them in the way that you make people feel. And everyone has it in them. It's just a matter of deciding that it matters, assigning a level of priority to it and giving all of yourself to its pursuit.
In a world where there's constant commoditization, pressures, it's going to be one of the most defensible. I mean, one of the things that's going to protect the margin, probably better than, is how did you make me feel?
Yeah, you can book someone a trip, or you can spend a little bit more time at the top understanding what is the purpose of this trip. Where are you at in life? What do you need out of it? And let me be really, really creative to make sure that I am doing a little bit more than other people might, to make sure that you get that out of this experience, that I find the little surprises or the big ones, the little touches or the big ones, all the things that make the people you're serving feel like you're walking down this road alongside them, and you're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they have exactly the experience, not only that they want, but that they need.
The North Star that I started talking about and we started talking about at Virtuoso literally in the early 2000s, that we ought to automate the predictable so that we can humanize the exceptional, but then kind of connect it to your 95-5 rule.
For me, the rule of 95-5 is how you manage every single dollar like a maniac 95% of the time, such that you can earn the right to spend the last 5% foolishly. You can't do all the thoughtful, crazy, generous gestures if you haven't earned the money with which to do them. But also, you better earn that right, because it is in that 5% that you're making the kind of lasting memories that build the kind of loyalty you're really trying to establish with your guests. It doesn't just apply to money, though. Right? It's a philosophy that you can really direct at anything. Time. Invest 95% of your time in efficient ideas such that you can be extravagant and almost wasteful with your time 5% of the time. The more efficient you are with your movements, the more you can really lean into a relationship in that 5%. And I think it really connects to this idea of what you're automating and what you're not, because the more studied you are, the more efficient you are, the more you can implement the kind of systems that keep you moving in the right direction without having to dedicate much thought to those things, the more you free up bandwidth to actually bring the most creative ideas to life, to come up with the most wildly generous and thoughtful gestures. That's what I love about that quote. It's being smart so that you can be creative. It's being pragmatic so you can be reckless. It's being thrifty so you can be generous, right? And doing each one of those first things such that you can earn the right to do the second thing.
You famously turned a simple hot dog into an unforgettable experience for guests at 11 Madison Park. What's your advice for travel professionals looking to identify and create those hot dog moments?
Nothing happens within any organization unless you make it as easy as possible for the people on your team to deploy the idea. Right? At the end of the day, no matter how motivated and hard-charging anyone is, we're all a little bit lazy. If you come up with a wild idea and you're the person that has to bring it to life, suddenly you start convincing yourself it's not that great an idea. If in doing something awesome for someone that you are serving takes so long that it takes away your ability to do the rest of your job well, you can negotiate your way out of some pretty awesome stuff. One of the big things is, listen, nothing takes root in the absence of resource. If you believe in something, you need to put resources behind it. And that's either people or budget or whatever it is. I believe in the idea of toolkits. The reason you have a toolbox is so that everything you need in order to do the job you need to do is right there waiting for you. It's easy. And so building toolkits around this stuff, coming up with great ideas, organizing them, making them very easy for not only you, but the people on your team to deploy.
For those that are coming to Virtuoso Travel Week or contemplating, what would be a couple of little tidbits to say, hey, let's go deeper on a couple of things?
Here's the thing. I've spent a lot of time with a ton of different companies across industries over the past few years, and I've yet to meet anyone who isn't trying to identify their competitive advantage. What is the thing about their product or offering or brand that will keep someone else from coming in and stealing their business? That's where the conversations exist. They center around the product or offering or brand. Here's the deal, though. It does not just matter how good your product is. It does not just matter how strong your brand is, because eventually, and this is not my opinion, it's a fact, time has proven it to be true, someone will come around, build a better product, create a stronger brand. They might be newer and therefore shinier. They might be younger and therefore more innovative. They might be better capitalized. They might just be more talented than you are. The only competitive advantage that exists over the long term, that comes through hospitality, through creatively and consistently and generously investing in relationships, because they take a long time to build. And if you build them in the right way, the loyalty you earn takes a long time to erode. So what we're going to talk about when we're together is how to do that. I'm going to share some stories and some lessons that I've learned over my course in restaurants that I found are applicable to pretty much anyone in any business that is in the business of serving others. And not only supercharge your business by doing so, but have a lot more fun along the way.
And the one thing I'll leave you with is they have been coming from all over the world in August to Vegas to do thousands of appointments because you can't take the human out of humanity. And if I made that investment and went there and met the person in Patagonia, the person in Indonesia, the person here, whatever, when I send you my client or when you receive my client, you can't help but be human.
Yeah.
This is our 37th and 38th Virtuoso Travel Week.
Golly.
So I'm excited for you to experience it yourself.
Man, I can't wait to be there. And I look forward to the time together and hopefully to meet as many other people as I can.
Thank you so much, Will. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, bud.